Welcome to the second session of the 8th Adhyaya of Sri Bhagavad Gita. We start with the gratitude towards the Lord, through whose grace everything is possible, and to the Guru Parampara, through which this knowledge has been preserved, protected and passed on for generations. Pay my respects to my Guruji, Pujya Guruma, with whose grace I am able to learn the scriptures and share this understanding with you. We start with a prayer. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So as you know, Srimad Bhagavad Gita has been divided into 3 parts of 6 adhyayas each. We are now into the 8th adhyaya, that is the second part, where there is description of the Ishwar Tattva, the Brahma Tattva, and here the main subject matter is Bhakti. So Lord is talking about different types of Bhakti here, and we all know that Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Gnana Yoga are all the sadhanas to reach ultimately the Sadhya, which is the Brahma Jnana. To know the divinity, to know the Almighty, to know the Supreme Lord, we need to do a kind of spiritual practice which is called sadhana, which can help us to purify ourselves by Karma Yoga. By Bhakti, we try to surrender ourselves to the Lord, accept His greatness, and we love God, so that we can reduce our attachments to this world, to this universe. And then finally, once we are purified, then we have to get the knowledge of the divine, and through which we attain the divinity. So this is the process which we need to carry out. For this we need to understand our goal, Bhagwan, Ishwar, how we understand them. There are many forms: Saguna Sakar form, which is the name and the form, Avatar, the Nimitta and the Upadana Karana, Ishwar as you know it, and the Paramarthik Swarup, the Adhishtan, or the formless Chaitanya Swarup or Brahma Swarup, which Lord Krishna himself is talking about in this Adhyaya, Kim Brahma. He says in the first shloka, where Arjuna asks Kim Brahma, he says Aksharam Paramam Brahma, means I am the Aksharam, indestructible, Paramam, the highest self, which is formless, which is Chaitanya, which is Atma, which is Brahma. And this Sat Chit and Ananda Swarupa, or the consciousness existence, is the ultimate Swarupa of the Lord, the Almighty, that Lord Krishna himself is saying here in this Adhyaya. Devotion and Bhakti is also a very important tool for us to attain the divine, to connect to the God. Bhakti, as we have already seen, it is the highest form of love towards the Lord, which is along with highest form of respect in the form of reverence to the Lord. And faith is an integral part of Bhakti. Without faith we cannot have Bhakti. And the ultimate goal of Bhakti is to attain the divinity, attain the knowledge of the divine, to get to the Atma Jnana. So 8th Adhyaya is called the Akshar Brahma Yoga, and in the first session we saw how Arjuna poses 7 questions. He wants to know the God in its entirety, Samagra. And that's how he asks, what is Brahma, what is Adhyatma, what is Karma, what is Adideva, Adibhuta, Adiyagna, and finally he asks, Prayana Kale, at the time of death, how can we know you, how can we understand you, Lord? And then Lord describes in details all the different types of bhakti, how the yogi will attain the Lord at the time, how a devotee will attain the Lord at the time. And he says that to think about me, to smara, Mam Anusmara Yuddhacha, he says. And then he says, if you want to remember me at the time of death, then you have to do that yoga abhyas all your life. That's what he tells Arjuna. Yoga abhyas is very important, constant repetition, constant practice of all these yogic sadhana. And the bhakti could be saguna, in the form and avatar swarupa of the Lord, or it could be nirguna, where it could be in the Atma Swarupa, our own self, Satchitananda Swarupa, which is the Tattva behind all the Jeev, Jagata and the Ishwar. So finally, Lord is going to describe the two paths which the Jiva takes after his death. What is the onward journey? Shukla Marg and Krishna Marg, which will be the last 5 shlokas of this second session. We start with the 13th shloka where Lord is describing the Omkar Upasana. Om ityekaksharam brahma vyaharan mamanusmaran yah prayati tyajan deham sayati paramam gatim. He says Om iti ek aksharam brahma vyaharan. By repeating Om at the time of passing away, one letter word, mam anusmaran, and also by remembering me, means it's not just the chanting which is mechanical, but it is by understanding the meaning of the word Om, and to understand that Om itself signifies the Lord, the Almighty, the Supreme Divinity, which is my own Tattvic self. Ya prayati tyajan deham, one who leaves this body, this jiva, sayati paramam gatim, he attains the highest destination, param gati. He says he attains my own self, he attains my highest abode. That's what Lord Krishna says. So it's important to understand what is Om. Om is considered and said that it is Ekakshari, Naam Bhagwan ka. It is one letter, name of the Lord, which signifies, denotes the Lord. It's the most concise definition of the God because it's given in one letter, Om. And Omkar Upasana has been described in great details in the Puranas of our scriptures, how we can attain the divine by Omkar. And it describes both the form, the Saguna Sakar, and the formless divine, the Nirgun Nirakar Brahma. So let us see how Omkar denotes the Saguna as well as the Nirguna Paramatma. So Saguna Paramatma, Omkar, has 3 letters actually hidden within Om, which are the 3 syllables, the A, U and the Ma. The A, if you see the Jagata on the Samashti level, it stands for all the Stula Jagata, the Stula Jagata, the Stula Shariras, the gross body, the world, the outer objects, whatever we can see, it is called Sachara-chara. So whatever we can see, Char and Achara, both, whatever we can see are the Stula Jagata. On the individual level, we see, on the Vyashti level, on the individual level, the A stands for the Jagrat Avastha, the conscious or the waking state, where we are conscious, aware about our surroundings, our Indriya, Mana, Buddhi are all active. And the Abhimani Devta, it is called, it is in Vishwa. Whereas the U, Akar, stands for Sukshma Jagata on a Samashti level. On a Vyashti or on an individual level, it stands for my dream state, Swapna Avastha, where the Indriya are not active, but the Mana may be active because when we see a dream, we create things which are not there, not existent. And this dream state, where the mind is active, but the Indriya, the senses are not active, we are not connected to the outer world, but the new world is created in our mind. And the Abhimani Devta of this dream state is the Tejas. And Ma is the Makara, is the Karana or the causal body, the Karana Sharira. And in a individual level, it is the Sushupti Avastha, which is the deep sleep stage where I am closest to my Atma Swarupa. I feel that bliss when I go there, but still I don't feel it at that point of time. When I wake up, I know that, I had a wonderful sleep. But this is also, it's a tamas. It is not the sattvic avastha because I am not conscious. While I am there, I am not conscious, but when I wake up, I am aware that I had a wonderful sleep. So this is the Abhimani Devta is Pragya. In this way, the entire universe can be accommodated in the one letter word Om. Because all that there is gross, subtle and the Karana Sharira, all that is Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti Avastha, all that is what is the Saguna Paramatma Swarupa of the entire universe. Whereas Om, when we talk about as a formless or a Nirguna Paramatma, it transcends all these 3 letters, A, U and Ma. and it is called Amatra. Amatra indicates the formless or the Nirgun divine Paramatma, and Omkar can also be chanted to connect to our own self, our own Atma Swarupa, our own Nirguna Atma Swarupa. So that is how we can, at every breath, we can chant Om and connect with our own self. So these are all the upasanas that have been described in our scriptures. Ananyacheta satatam yo mam smarati nityashaha tasyaham sulabha partha nityayuktasya yoginaha. So here Lord Krishna says, for some I am easily attainable. Tasyaham sulabha partha, he says. Ananya cheta satatam, one who is constantly connected to me with a one-point focus. Ananya cheta. His cheta, his mind is completely focused on me all the time. Satatam means constantly, all the time he is focused on me. It says, Yo mam smarati nityashaha, and one who is always remembering me. Nityashaha means not a single moment he has forgotten me. So that person who constantly remembers me, and one who is a nitya yukta, yoginaha, that yogi who has controlled his mind, body, intellect, his senses, everything is properly controlled, is yukta and nitya yukta, always, ever under this kind of a balance. Tasya aham sulabha partha, for this person, O Arjuna, I am easily attainable by them. So God here talks about a lot of things which are very, very difficult. Ananya cheta satatam, yomam smarati nityashaha, always remembering nitya yuktasya yoginaha. All these, it's very difficult, but when you get over these difficulties, then achieving the Lord is very easy. That's what Lord Krishna is saying here. So attaining the divine or Parama Prapti, which is the goal, considered to be the goal for all of us, as our scriptures tell us. Whether it is difficult or it is easy, that is the question. And this question comes up a lot of times in our day-to-day life also, that someone says, oh, this is very difficult, I can't do it. The other person says, no, it's very easy. Why is it difficult for you? I can do it very easily. So these kind of conversations do happen. And in Gita Ji also, Bhagavan Shri Krishna has many times said that this path is not easy. When he says Sahasranam, out of thousands of people who try, only few come on this path. Out of thousands of people who come on this path, only few understand me. Out of thousands of people who understand me, only one or two will know me completely. He says so. And he's already said, some Mahatmas are durlabha. Such kind of great men are very few. Durlabha. Now here in this shloka he says, Tasyaham sulabha partha. I am quite easily attainable partha. So either the question is whether is it sulabha, easy to attain the God, or it is durlabha, it is very difficult, only rare people can do it to attain the divinity. That is the question. And the answer is beautifully given by Guruma. She says it depends on the adhikaritva of the Shishya. And here also Lord Krishna has said the same thing. It depends on the Shishya, one who is given these conditions. One who is doing a proper sadhana, nitya, is completely devoted, always remembers me, nityasha, is nitya yuktaha, is indriya sanyam, he has mana sanyam all the time. Not a single moment he goes away from this balance of personality. And the one who has attained that kind of a purity, that kind of a shuddhi. Because otherwise, without that kind of a purity of the inner mind, we cannot even think of attaining the divinity. So, it all depends on the adhikaritva of the disciple or the seeker, or the bhakta, or the jnani. And the people who have done this sadhana, those who have the adhikaritva, for them attaining this Almighty is not difficult. But for somebody who doesn't have faith, doesn't have the devotion, love, respect for the Lord, doesn't have the necessary, karma yoga, does not adopt any of these attitudes, for somebody who is not committed to the sadhana, for somebody who has a lot of vices, a lot of, his thoughts and his actions are not congruous to each other. For such people, it is extremely difficult. Some people who are completely attached to this world, to this universe, have a lot of emotions, attachments, bondages. for them it is very difficult to attain the divinity. And that's why it is all dependent on the Adhikari. So it depends on the efforts of the seeker, how much efforts we are willing to put in, what is our priority of life. And we all have to develop our own personality and elevate our own self. That's what Lord Krishna said earlier in the 4th Adhyaya, Atmanyev Atmana Tushtaha. So we have to elevate ourselves, we have to try our best to attain whatever we want to do in our life. It's only we can decide our priorities in life. Nobody else can decide this for us. So Guru Maharaj goes a step ahead and tells us from our Shastras and Upanishads that it is neither Sulabha nor Durlabha. It is already Labdha. It is already attained. We are already there. But the problem is we don't know that. And that is the problem, that we need to know that we are divinity personified. It is the spiritual path in a sense of Praptasya Prapti. Path of Praptasya Prapti means attaining what we already are. We don't have to go somewhere and attain something which we are not there. So this self of mind, or our own self, Atma Swarupa, is already completely fulfilled. It is Paripurna. It is devoid of any Ashuddhis. It is Swacha. This is what our scriptures tell us. And we need to understand, we need to know this divinity to achieve the benefits, to reap the benefits of this knowledge. So we need to first introduce ourselves, what I am actually. Then I have to know my real self, do sadhana for this. It's not that easy. Though it is my own self, the contradiction is that it is the most difficult to attain, to understand our own self. And then finally to have that kind of approach, jnana, realization, knowledge, as Lord Krishna said in the 7th Adhyaya, Jnana and Vijnana. So Jnana is something that I know, Vijnana is something that I realize, I live with it, I change my behavior. That is the realization. Ma bhupetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmanaha sansiddhim paramam gataha. Now Lord Krishna says, though I am easily attained, though I am Sulabha Partha, but the benefits of knowing me are great, he says. Because most of the times something that is easily attained, the benefits may not be great. But here God is saying, Mamupetya punarjanmana apnuvanti. What is the great benefit? He says, one who attains me does not get reborn, does not get a rebirth in this world. And he describes this world with two words, Dukkhalayam, which is full of miseries. Dukkha Alayam, it is the house of miseries. And it is Ashashvatam. Ashashvatam means it is completely changing. It is not steady. It is constantly changing. It is evanescent. It is very transient. It is everything is temporary here. It comes and goes. It comes and goes. So that is the nature of this world, he says. And he says, Mahatmana, that great man, Sansiddhim Paramam Gata, has attained the eternal fruits of the liberation, the freedom, the moksha, when he attains my own self, my own abode. So Dukkhalayam and Ashashvatam. Dukkhalayam means it is, full of pain and miseries. Somebody can say, oh, I enjoy my life, I love it, I enjoy it, the world is so beautiful. Yes, the world is full of Sukha and Dukkha both. There are both the sides. There is a Dvandva, the dualities are there. But commonly, we remember the pain more often than the happy times. And this is what is the nature of our human mind. Even the birth itself is painful for the mother, though the mother is in the ecstasy of giving a child birth, but it is a very painful process. Childhood itself is a pain. It's difficult for the child because it's dependent on the parents and a lot of things. It doesn't have an independent, existence. Diseases, when they come out of the blue and affect our life, our near and dear ones, our families, it's so difficult. We know that how much pain and misery it gives us. Old age itself is full of miseries. We are so dependent. We cannot be independent. There's so many limitations in the old age. So many things we are dependent on others. And finally, death. We all know how painful or how much fear all of us have about the death and the diseases. So essentially, maintaining the family, maintaining the life, having money, having the wealth, nurture children, take care of relations. Everything is not easy. Life itself is not easy. And that's why we also need to know that not only this life here, but even the higher lokas, Swarga Loka, heaven also, there are, people have fear. The kings they have fear that the demons may come over and take over their place. And that's why the stress and the fear is everywhere. It's not on just in this Loka. So that is the Swarupa, entire Swarupa of the Sansara or the world that Lord describes here. It is Dukhalayam. Another thing that he says is that is Ashashvatam. Even though we feel those transient pangs of happiness in between, they're all far and fetched, they're all temporary, they're all evanescent, they come and go. So whatever happens every day, everything comes to an end one day. So that is the nature of this world. Abrahma bhuvanan loka punaravartinorjuna mamupetya tu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. So here Lord tells us and shows us the viveka between what is temporary, what is permanent. He says, Arjuna, Abrahma bhuvanan loka punaravartina. O Arjuna, all lokas, from this lok to all the higher lokas, including the Brahma loka, are all temporary. Jiva have to go back and come back again and again on this earth. He says, two means it is a pakshantar, means it shows the opposite side. However, the other side is Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, Mamupetya punarjanmana vidyate. One who attains me is not reborn. So he shows here what is the difference between the Nitya and the Anitya, what is the temporary, what is the permanent. All these material world, all these lokas, everything is temporary, but what is, when you attain me, moksha is permanent, then one is not reborn. So here again it shows the Vedanta Siddhanta, which Brahma is Satya and Jagat is Mithya. Only Nitya is the Satya Tattva is Nitya. Nitya means it is eternal. It is there in all the three times, the past, present and the future. And it is Trikala Avadita, means it is not limited to time, but it is eternal. And this is what is the Brahma Tattva. But everything else apart from the Brahma, including the Jagata, Jiva, everything else is Anitya, it is Mithya. Anitya means it is temporary, it comes and goes, at some point it is there, at some point it is not there. And whatever is like this, Vedanta says it is an illusion because it's not the reality. It is seen for a transient period as an illusion and then it goes away. Sahasra yuga paryantam arhada brahmano viduhu ratrim yuga sahasrantam deho ratra vido janaha. Here Lord Krishna describes Brahmaloka, the day and night of Brahmaloka, and also shows that Brahmaloka, even though it is the highest loka, it is also time bound, it is not beyond the time. Sahasra yuga paryantam ahadda brahmanaha means 1000 yugas make one day of Brahmaji. As you know, the one yuga makes from, there are 4 yugas that make one Chaturyugi or yuga. So one yuga means one Satayuga, one Treta, one Dwapar and one Kali, that makes one yuga. And such similar thousands of yugas make one day of Brahmaji. So that is one day of Brahmaji in Brahmaloka, he says. Similarly, thousands of yugas make one night of Brahmaji. So it's beyond our imagination how much would be the thousands of yugas, because itself one yuga itself is like 14 crore years. The thousands of such yugas are one day in Brahmaji and thousands of yugas are one night of Brahmaji. And the age of the universe, Yuga Sahasrantam, age of the universe is calculated as 100 years of Brahmaji's life. So this is something which is mind-boggling. But even then, finally, it comes to an end. At the time of the Srushti, the Kalpa, at the time of the ending of the universe, everything comes to an end. Viduhu te janaha, those yogis who know this tattva, aha ratra viduhu, they know the essence of time. The essence of aha and ratra. Aha means day and ratra means time. The essence of these time, the Kal Chakra, it is known only by people who know this tattva. That is what Krishna says here. Avyaktadvyaktayah sarvaha prabhavantyah haragame ratragame praliyante tatreva vyakta sanyake. Here also Lord Krishna shows us the Nitya, Anitya, Viveka. He says, Avyakta, Vyakta, Sarva Prabhavanti. Everything becomes manifest from unmanifest, Aha Agame, when the daytime happens for Brahmaji. So, during the daytime, there is here, Lord Krishna is showing us the Srushti, how it develops, how it starts. When the day happens of the Brahmaji, the Srushti starts. And when Tatra eva avyakta ratra game praliyante sanyake, means at night time of Brahmaji, everything becomes unmanifest. And that means that pralaya, the Srushti comes to an end. So that is what Lord Krishna is showing here, the Srushti, Pralaya. This keeps on going on and on and on. And so this is what Lord Krishna is showing here. Bhuta grama sa evayam bhutva praliyate ratrya gameshava shah partha prabhavatya haragame. Says, O Arjuna, Bhuta grama bhutva, all the beings are born and reborn. It says, when the night falls, all the beings are destroyed, and at daytime they are born again and again. Also meaning how the people or the human beings undergo, the jivas undergo all this cycle of birth and death. That is describing again. Avashaha, it's without control. The jiva is not having its own control, because the Maya controls the jiva, and of course his own karmas that he has done in the past also control his onward journey. Sa eva ayam bhuta grama, the one who are there previously are again born during the rebirth. So the same bhuta, the same beings are keep on having birth, they keep dying, they keep having birth, so they keep moving from one circle to the other. So birth, death, this is all happening in the life of the jiva, and this journey goes on and on without his own control. He has no control over this. Parastasmat tu bhavonyo vyakto vyaktat sanatanaha yah sa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. So here two means he is showing the other side. So everything else, Brahmaji is Brahmaloka, Bhutagrama, birth, life cycles, the Srushti, Pralaya, Srushti cycles, all these is going on. But he says, you see the other side. If you see the side of the Nitya side, the Paramatma side, whatever is permanent, is showing the other side. Tasmat avyaktat para anya sanatana. That higher than the unmanifest, another very different, which is Vilakshana, which is eternal, which is Nitya. That side you see. Higher than the Avyaktat. Avyaktat means Brahmaji, what he has recently described, Maya. So all these are Avyakta. They are unmanifest. But something which is even higher than this Avyakta or the unmanifest, that is the Param Tattva that Lord Krishna is talking about. Avyakta Bhava, that my unmanifest nature. That Lord Krishna himself says, he says, Sarva Bhuteshu Nachyatsu, even when all the beings are destroyed. But this unmanifest nature of mind, which is there in all the Bhuta, Sana Vinashyati, that divinity is never destroyed. It is neither and never destroyed. So he says, this is my unmanifest nature, Avyakta Bhava, which Lord Krishna is talking about in this shloka, which is quite different, Vilakshana, Sakshi, and which is the Atma Tattva and Brahma Tattva of the universe, which it holds the universe. Avyakto-kshara ityuktaha tamahu paramam gatim yam prapya na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. So again, Lord Krishna is describing this Akshar Tattva, the Brahma Tattva here, and that's why this Adhyaya is called the Akshar Brahma Yoga, where he is describing that the Akshar Tattva is the Brahma Tattva. And again he says, Avyakto Akshara iti uktaha. So you see this, that this unmanifest Tattva, this eternal Tattva that I am talking about, that is the Akshara Tattva, that is the indestructible one, and that is the Brahma Tattva. So all these are the same, the Avyakta, Akshara and the Brahma are one and the same. That is my unmanifest, that is my real self, that is the eternal self, and that is the indestructible self. Tamah ahu paramam gatim, that some Tattva is said to be, this is my paramagati, this the same Tattva. That same Tattva is my final gati or my param destination. Yam prapyana nivartante, by reaching which one need not come back to earth. Tat mama paramam dhama, that is my eternal abode. So here Lord Krishna uses two words, param gati and param dhama. He says, he has already talked about the Paragati and the Aparagati. Paragati means to attain the Paramatma, the higher self, Brahma, and causing liberation, Mukti, Moksha. So this can be either Jivan Mukti attained during life by Atmagnana, and only by knowing Atmagnana we can have this kind of a fruit or benefit of Mukti or Moksha. Because Brahma is already there. We have to know it to realize that we are that Atma Swarupa, Brahma Swarupa. And Jnani attains this Paramadhama, because Sat, Chit and the Anand is the Atma Swarupa, which is the Paramadhama of the Nirgun, Niratma, Nirakara Brahma. So this Chaitanya is also the same as Atma, which is the same as Brahma, which is the same as the Sat, Chit and the Ananda. And understanding this, knowing this, we get these fruits or the benefit of the Moksha. And the Aparagati is in all these lokas, on this loka, the lower lokas, the higher lokas, all the lokas including Swarga Loka and the Brahma Loka, all this is Aparagati. It is all people keep coming, going, coming back. There is birth, death, all the circles of Srushti, Pralaya, and all these are within this Aparagati. Purushah Sapara Partha Bhaktya Labhyastvayanyaya Yasyanta Stani Bhutani Yena Sarvamidam Tatam. So here Lord Krishna shows that this Paramsthan, this unmanifest Brahma, this eternal self of mind, indestructible Akshara, Brahma, how can it be understood, how can it be attained? And here he says only by devotion, only by bhakti, somebody can attain this Param Purusha, Partha, Sapara Purusha, that supreme one, that indestructible Akshara Tattva Brahma. He says Yasya Antastani Bhutani, in whom all the beings reside. This divinity, it takes the form of this body, and all this personification happens in this divinity. So all these beings reside within this eternal, all-pervasive divinity which is Brahma. Yena Sarvamidam Tatam, in whom all these pervades. All this is pervaded by that Brahma Tattva. And Ananya Bhaktya Labhyaha can only be attained by a one-point devotion. So he makes life so easier for us. Lord Krishna himself tells us that we should do a one-pointed devotion, bhakti. Ananya Bhaktya Labhyaha. Ananya Bhaktya Labhyaha means that this Parama Sthana, Parama Gati, Paragati, or this Paramadhama can only be attained with one-pointed devotion. Devotion is nothing but the highest love for the God, either in some form of the God, or by understanding our own Atma Swarupa, our Swaswarupa, Anusandhana, know our own self. And one-pointed devotion essentially means that we surrender everything to the Lord, and then we, devote ourselves to the Lord, to understand that, the tattva behind the Lord is the same as the tattva which is there everywhere in this universe. This Abheda Bhakti. And Antastani Bhutani means Bhagavan is the Upadana Karana Paramatma. Just like for a ghat, for any kind of a pot, the clay is the Upadana Karana or the material cause. Similarly, the God is the material cause of this existence. He is already there, all pervading in this existence, though we cannot see it, because God himself says in this Adhyaya that he is unmanifest. He cannot be seen by everyone. So this, to understand, to know and to attain this, our own self, our Atma Swarupa, to get this, the knowledge of the divine is ultimately nothing but the liberation or the freedom. Yatra kale tvanavrittim avrittim chaiva yoginaha prayata yanti tam kalam vakshyami bharatarshabha. So that path, yatra kala, prayata means while leaving that body, yogina avruttim cha eva anavruttim yanti. Yogis know whether to come back or not on this earth. Avruttim means coming back, anavruttim means not coming back. Bharata-shabha, oh greatest of all the Bharat dynasty, tam kalam vakshyami. I am going to tell you about these two paths, which are the onward journey after the death. So Lord here takes a pratigna, takes a promise that I am going to talk to you about the two paths in the next 4 to 5 shlokas, he talks about these two paths. So Lord Krishna talks about the onward journey after death and shows two paths, or the two marg of the two paths. One is called the north path, the other is the south path. Essentially, it is the Uttar Marg and the Dakshina Marg, which is also called the Shukla Gati and the Krishna Gati. Uttar Marg is also called the Devayana. Dakshina Marg is also called the Pitruyana. It is also, the Uttar Marg is called the Surya Marg, and Dakshin Marg is also called the Chandra Marg. Uttar Marg is where there is Anavrittim. You did not come back. Whereas Dakshin Marg, there is Avrittim, means we need to come back on earth. So that is the difference between these two marga, these two onward journey, which Lord Krishna is going to start from the next shloka. Agni Jyotiraha Shuklaha Shanmasa Uttarayanam Tatra Prayata Gachanti Brahma Vito Janaha. It says Tatra Prayata Janaha Brahma Gachanti. When people go on this path, they attain Brahma Loka. They don't need to come back. Where on this path, the Devtas or the celestial gods of the Agni, Jyoti, Aha, Shukla, fire, radiance, daytime, Shukla, Paksh, and the 6 months of Uttarayana welcome this Jiva on this path. These are the Abhimani Devta or the Adhisthana Devta of this path, the north path of the Uttar Marga. And Brahmavid, the one who knows Brahma, say this. Brahmavid, they say this. Dhumo Ratris Tatha Krishnaha Shanmasa Dakshinayanam Tatra Chandramasam Jyotihi Yogi Prapya Nivartate. Yogi Prapya Nivartate. Yogis, those who have attained these lokas, have always to come back. They have to come back Nivartate. Dhumaha Ratri Tatha Krishna Shanmasa Dakshinayanam. On this other south path, the Dakshin path, where Jiva comes, is welcomed by the Devtas of the darkness, night, and the 6 months of the Dakshinayana. Tatra Chandramasam Jyoti attains the light of the moon, the higher lokas. But from all these higher lokas, they have to come back on the earth once the punya, all the punya get exhausted. They have to come back on this earth. So that is what Lord Krishna says, yes. Shukla Krishne Gati Yete Jagata Shashvate Mate Ekaya Yatyaya Navrittim Anyana Vartate Punaha. It says Ete Shukla Krishna Gati. These are the two paths, the Shukla path and the Krishna path. Jagata Shashvate Mate. These paths are ever in this world. Shashvate Mate means they are always in this world. Only the people keep changing. The paths are already there. Ekaya Yati Anavrittim. On one path, when one goes, this is the Shukla mark or the Shukla path, one did not come back, Anavrittim. Whereas on the other, Ananya, Avartate Punaha, where one goes on the other path, the Krishna path, they always have to come back to this world, it says. Naite Sruti Partha Janan Yogi Muhyati Kaschana Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Yoga Yukto Bhavarjuna. So this is the call from the Lord for all of us seekers. He says, after knowing these two paths, that these are the two paths, Yogi na muhyati kaschana. Yogi does not get deluded. वो नहीं होता है योगी को. तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु. Therefore, at all times, yoga yukta bhava Arjuna. Be a yogi. And here, in this adhyaya, where the Lord is talking about bhakti all the time, yogi here, be a yogi means be a bhakta, be a devotee of the Lord. Because only with this devotion to the Lord, we can be able to attain the divinity. We can probably understand all throughout the life we have to do this bhakta, become a bhakta full time, so that at the end time we are able to remember Anusmara, the Lord, and through this we can have a better outcome. These are the two paths. He has shown the Shukla path and the Krishna path. Whatever we do in our life will determine whether we go on the Shukla path or the Krishna path. On one path, that we need to come back on this earth. On the other path, we don't need to come back on this earth. And that's what Lord Krishna is describing. वेदेषु यज्ञेषु तपःसु चैव दानेषु यत् पुण्यफलं प्रतिष्ठम् अत्येति तत्सर्वमिदं विदित्वा योगी परं स्थानुपैति चाख्यम्. Tat sarvam idam viditva. After knowing all this, now this is the last shloka of this adhyaya, and Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna that after knowing whatever I have told you, all the 7 questions: what am I, who am I, what are my, what is my real swarupa, antakale, how do you understand, how do you know me? He's already given all this description in the 8th adhyaya. So this is the final shloka of the 8th adhyaya. He says, after knowing all this, Yat punya phalam pradishtam, whatever is considered to provide the punya phala, the virtuous fruits of the actions that all we do, karma. Similar, like Vedeshu means study of the Vedas. Veda अध्ययन करना, उपनिषद अपनी वेद पाठ का शाखा उसका अध्ययन करना. Yagneshu, doing yagnas, doing some kind of sacrificial finance or tapa means finance. And dan, yogya, donations for the right cause. He says all these are punyakari karma. But yogi, atyeti, he says this yogi, he crosses everything. All this punya phala he crosses by knowing the answers to all these questions that I have already said, and he will attain the supreme abode of the highest self. He says param sthanam upaiti cha agyam, which is the highest self of the Lord. There is nothing beyond that, and it's only after one knows all these, this divinity that Lord is talking about here, we can attain that. Then only we cross all this punya phala, all this, and attain the supreme abode of the highest self. And that's why tasmat sarveshu kaleshu yoga yukto bhavarjuna, that is the call of the Lord, the divinity itself is telling us to become yoga yukta bhavarjuna. Be a yogi, Arjun. Be a bhakta. Be a devotee to the Lord. Surrender to the Lord. Do everything, always remembering Him at every moment of your life. Janusmaracha, yuddacha, and do your duties, do your karma, do your bhakti, do your sadhana, and finally you will attain the Almighty, the Lord, the Divine Lord. With this we come to the end of the 8th adhyaya. Om Tat Saviti Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Akshara Brahma Yogo Nama Ashtamodhyayah. Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Praja Aham Tva Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami Ma Shuchaha. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah.